Here we want to factor. If you don't recognize what special case it is, then you can factor it like a trinomial. Since we don't see a k to the first power term, we can put 0k. We're looking for two numbers that multiply to get negative 36 that add to get 0. One of them is positive, one of them is negative. So if you look at your factors of 36, eventually you should see 6 times negative 6. And the sum of 6 and negative 6 is 0. So this factors into k plus 6, k minus 6. Now, if you recognized it as the difference of two squares, then you can take the square root of k squared, and you'll get k. Square root of 36, you get 6, and do k plus 6, k minus 6. You can check it by distributing twice and combining like terms. Here we're looking for, let's see, our signs. This tells us same signs. Bigger one is negative. So if they're the same and the bigger one's negative, then they're both negative. Factors of 81 that add up to negative 18. So when you look at your list for 81, you should see negative 9 and negative 9. Negative 9 times negative 9 is 81. Negative 9 plus negative 9 is negative 18. So it factors into x minus 9, x minus 9. If you see the same factor twice, you're going to write it as that factor squared. Here we've got same signs, both positive. Bigger one's positive, so they're both positive. Look at your factors of 49. Eventually you should see 7 times 7. 49, 7 plus 7 is 14. So we can factor this into x plus 7, x plus 7. If you see the same factor twice, you'll write it as that factor squared. Notice a is not 1, so you'll do a times c. 9 times 4 gives us 36. Two factors of 36 that add up to negative 12. Same signs. Bigger one's positive, or bigger one's negative, so they're both negative. So that'd be negative 6 and negative 6. That add up to negative 12 and multiply to get 36. So we'll split the middle. Fill in our box. GCF of the top row is 3x. Greatest common factor of the bottom row is negative 2. 9x squared divided by 3x is 3x. Check it with the bottom row. Negative 6x divided by negative 2 is 3x. Negative 6x divided by 3x is negative 2. 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. So we see the same factor twice, 3x minus 2 and 3x minus 2, so we can write it as that factor squared. So it is in fact a perfect square trinomial. Factors into a binomial squared. Hopefully you recognize this as the difference of two squares. So we'll take the square root of x squared. We get x plus square root of 1. We'll just focus on the positive value there. Square root of 1 is 1. And then the other one will be x minus 1. Again, difference of two squares. Square root of x squared is x. Square root of 64 is 8. So we'll have x plus 8, x minus 8. And that's the way of the difference of two squares factors. Notice the hint, find a GCF first. Greatest common factor of these two terms is 3. So divide the 3 out. 3x squared divided by 3. And you get x squared. Negative 75 divided by 3 is negative 25. So we got this GCF in front, and then x squared minus 25 is the difference of two squares. Square root of x squared is x. Square root of 25 is 5. So we'll have x plus 5, x minus 5. Make sure you have the greatest common factor still in front. This one you might think that it fits the same pattern as some of the ones we've seen before, x plus 5, x minus 5, but if you check it, it doesn't work. Once you've looked for GCF, which in this case GCF is 1, if you have the sum of two squares, it does not factor. So you do have to check for GCF, but once you've checked for the greatest common factor, if it's the sum of two squares, then it's going to be prime. Looking for two numbers that multiply to get 100, that add to get 20, and the same signs, both positive, so that's 10 and 10. So we can write x plus 10 times x plus 10. If you recognize that it was going to be a perfect square trinomial, you could go ahead and factor it into that binomial squared. Here there's a couple ways of doing it. One is to just square root both sides. If you do that, don't forget about the positive or negative on one side. Square root of 121 could be positive or negative 11. The other way to do it would be to subtract 121 from each side, and then you'll see the difference of two squares. So this way has a little bit more. Factor it, you get x plus 11, x minus 11. Product equal to 0, set each factor equal to 0 and solve. Subtract 11, we get negative 11 as one of our solutions. And add 11, and you get positive 11 as the other solution. So notice it matches what we have up there. Negative 11 or positive 11. This tells us same signs, bigger one is negative. Factors of 16 that add up to negative 8. Factors of 16, 4 and 4 is what we want. And they're same signs, bigger one's negative, so they're both negative. And they do in fact add up to negative 8. So if you factor that, x minus 4, x minus 4. Or you could say x minus 4, parentheses squared. To get rid of squared, we'll square root. Square root of 0, positive or negative 0 is still just 0. On the left side, square root and squared undo each other. They're inverse operations. To get rid of minus 4, add 4 to each side, and so x equals 4. Oh, and this was equal to 0. To solve this, it's already set up to factor, so I'll go ahead and factor it. But you could also add 100 to each side and then square root. So we have x plus 10, x minus 10, because it's the difference of two squares. So x plus 10 equals 0, or x minus 10 equals 0. Subtract 10, you get negative 10 as a solution. Add 10, you get positive 10 as a solution. two solutions, negative 10 or positive 10. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Check out more on my website.